Hey everybody, JJ here, back again for another Wednesday of Zoom networking. Day before Turkey Day, Thanksgiving, and I couldn't be more thankful for our guest speaker today. She's absolutely amazing. Real estate investor. She's a mom, family person, runs a business and a family at the same time. That's not easy, guys. She's absolutely amazing. I have had multiple opportunities to talk with this young lady, but we're on opposite sides of the country. But I still feel as though she lives across the street. I love her. I want to introduce my new best friend, Sam Carapia. Sam, how are you, girl?
I'm good, JJ. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so glad to have you on because, as we know, our energy is similar. You
Same.
know,
Yeah,
it's like we're two bullets out of the same gun.
exactly.
So you're awesome. Hey, really quick, for those that don't know you, where in the country are you located?
So I'm in Atlanta right now, but I'm from Chicago. I moved here about 3 years ago because I had to get away from the cold. It was just too much, too much. So I moved to Georgia. I'm not too happy with the decision. I wanted to move to the warm, and I think I chose the wrong side of the country because honestly, there's just a lot of, see, now I'm gonna say, okay, so there's just a lot of uppity like people here that I'm just the diversity isn't here that I'm used to in Chicago. Like I love the diversity in
Yeah.
Chicago. I just hate the people in it, like in my area. I'm in Kennesaw. I'm a suburb that was like super safe and all this stuff, but it's just not for me. It's not for my kids. But we're still moving. We're still looking at other places. I'm actually looking to move to Florida here pretty soon. But yeah. So right now I'm in the Metro Atlanta area, but I will be moving to Florida here pretty soon.
There you go. Yeah, Samantha and I recently went to Florida. I've been to Atlanta, north of Atlanta, LJ actually. I was up there for a,
That's beautiful.
it was beautiful, beautiful up. I went for a tactical weapons training session, so I know how to use my 9mm here in Los Angeles.
Very
But
cool.
yeah, we got some good weather out here. You might want to consider LA. Traffic's crazy, politics are crazy, cost of living is crazy, but the weather is absolutely beautiful.
That's what I'm
Uh,
into. It's the
hey, so
weather.
let's talk about real estate for a sec. Your
Sure.
topic is basically how to buy a house with no money,
Yep.
which is what everybody's here to understand. And you've been doing this very, very successfully.
Yes.
Um, but you know, we're both in sub two, right? That's our commonality. But what did you do before real estate? Were was something always on the landscape for you? Or was it something in high school was available to you? Was it after high school in your 20s? I mean, what were you doing from your teens to your 20s before real estate?
So teens to 20s, I was a bartender. I did not have any experience in real estate whatsoever. I started working for a general contractor when I was 25. So I started getting in the general contracting business and learning how to do renovations and billing and looking at scopes and doing bid scrubs and making sure that things were aligned with today's pricing. So that I kind of rolled into that in my later 20s. I was actually a paralegal as well for a family law firm. I jumped a
Cool.
lot. Yeah, I jumped a lot. So, but then like once I started getting into construction, that was kind of my passion was construction. I love construction. And then I started working for a capital investment company. And
Wow.
I worked there for about 7 years. I loved it, absolutely loved it. I ran all the renovations. They bought about 8,000 assets between North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, and South Carolina, I think it was. But then when the interest rates rose, which was last year, around my birthday is September 13th. I got fired on my birthday. On my birthday, I got fired on my birthday, which was really shitty. And that's when I started on sub two. I had a girlfriend who was like, hey, you know what? I got this sub two mentorship. I've never done anything with it. No one's ever been able to do anything with it. Will you take it on? Okay. So I went onto it and I learned all the pay stuff. I went through all the videos, the modules. That was September. In December, we made $64,000 in wholesales just from going after. I was always on the phone, calling people, talking to sellers, looking at expired listings, talking to agents, and getting deals. And I realized I didn't know what escrow was until like if you would have asked me this about a year and a half ago, I wouldn't have known anything about escrow, anything about any of the language that we speak. Because as investors, we are and I love this because Pace mentioned this at Clever Summit, we are bilingual. We are BUY lingual. Like that's why when you talk to your family and you talk about these things, they're probably looking at you like you're insane because it's a different language. It's a different way of speaking and understanding. And
Yeah.
he's absolutely right. Like when you have that, like I wouldn't have known any of this 18 months ago. Like I wouldn't have known any of how this all works. And then once you kind of like you watch the pay stuff, you look at other people, and I was lucky enough to like go on the daily dials with Caroline Kane, who's amazing, an amazing resource. And I learned so much from that, that's how I started. And that's what I was doing before. And transitioning into real estate from the contracting part was definitely a whole different world, but it wasn't so far off that it was like insane. It was easy to receive because it's like I know construction, I know what houses are supposed to look like, I know code, I know
So
like
let me ask you, how did you run across Pace? How did you come across Sub 2?
because my partner, who is now my partner, signed up for the mentorship when there was only about 20 people, 30 people in there. She was one of the OGs, and she didn't do anything with it. She was pregnant, she was looking for all this like side work, so she signed up. And then 2 years later is when her and I met, and she's like, I'm going to add you as a partner. So I was like, okay, what is this? I didn't know anything about it. And then I just crammed it. And like I said, 2 months later, 64 grand in assignments.
Wow, so you guys are rock and rolling.
Yeah.
So let's get right into it. How to buy a house with no money down or
Yeah.
no money period. I mean, we have a lot of people on the call right now. We have people watching on YouTube weeks and months down the line. Some are very experienced, some are new. Everybody would love to hear more about this. How did you learn how to do this, and what are some of the steps that one needs to know or go through to buying a house with no money?
So I learned it from some too. Honestly, I had a lady, I was reaching out, I was doing a lot of outreach, and this lady who she had her property ARV wise was about 1.4, but she had ripped it. So she was kind of desperate. She was ripping apart things randomly in the house, and her property, it was kind of tore up a little bit, but it was a mansion. It was gorgeous. So she had about 700,000 in underlying mortgages on the property. We came in and we said, you know what, we're going to take over your mortgage sub two, which is free, right? You guys take over an existing debt. It doesn't cost you anything, but she wanted 100,000 to move out. So with that kind of property having that much value, you can find a lender. It doesn't have to be a bank is going to make you put your credit and your life and your blood and probably a left finger into the deal to be able to let them borrow. You know what I mean? Like anytime you have a bank, it's going to cost, it's just a big pain in the ass. But we found, private lenders, private money partners, private money people, they don't need all that. They just know that the asset is valuable in the sense that they can make money if the property if you default, they're going to take back that property and they're going to make a killing. So I found somebody who thought that. So they took 100,000 and they borrowed it to me, in which I gave to them. The seller is what I'm saying. At that time, we called in, there's a place called Fund and Grow, and also Seek Capital. So Fund and Grow and Seek Capital will give you credit based on your business. They will give you all the credit. We happened to raise about $95,000 in credit cards. Okay, it's not the best thing in the world, but it was what we needed to rehab that house. Once we got the 100,000 that we borrowed from our private money lender and we gave it to the seller moved out. We were able to go in there and rehab the property for about 100. It cost us basically all the credit the line of credit that we had. But we turned around and we sold it for 1.5, and we made 600 grand off that property. And
Wow.
I went on there with Pace, and Pace is like, no one has ever done that. And he's like, I have never made that much off of a single family. He's like, you're better than I am. And I was like, holy crap. So that was like my big like moment where I talked to him, and I have a video of it and everything where it was just super cool. But yeah, I mean, you don't need the bank's backup. You just need to be able to speak. If that seller has a mortgage, you can take over. Yeah, of course. Okay, did I have to pay the monthly, like, because my loan was 1,500 a month that I had to pay, that we had to pay every month, but you can pay that on credit cards. You can transfer your credit into cash. There's a ways to do all of that. But yes, essentially it cost me not $1 to buy and rehab that house until after we sold. Because when we sold, we paid back all of our credit cards that we were completely underwater with. We paid back our loan. all those things like got paid off in it. So it was literally with $0 out of my pocket and zero experience. I had a lot of experience at the time with other people's properties. They weren't in my name. And you'll see that when you're trying to get rehab loans. They'll be like, how many properties have you guys done and actually flipped? Well, we didn't. We had a lot under different entities that really didn't belong to us, but we were still able to make it work. And I found really good lenders. And if you guys ever need those lenders, like reach out to me, please. I will happily provide those to you. Like they're great people and nothing is impossible. And you just have to get out of that mindset that, oh my God, this isn't gonna work, or oh my God, this is just you have to put in your mind like this is gonna happen. I'm gonna do this and it's gonna work.
How long ago was this first transaction that you did?
April. That was April when the one I'm talking about right now, and on October is when we cashed out. So May, June, July, August, September, 6 months, 6 months, 6 months on that one. Like I was wholesaling before that, I was doing wholesale deals, little stuff here, 30 grand, 20 grand, not little, I guess, because that was like the most money I've ever made. I mean, guys, like when you're working as a W-2 and you're doing like $800-900, $1,200 a week or whatever, God bless. But it's amazing, just like the amount. I remember sitting back and saying, "Oh my God, I've never made this much money in my life, and I will never go back to working for somebody else in my life."
Sam, looks like we have a question. Let's jump into the audience here. Paul Hernandez, you are on with Sam. What's your question?
Oh, thank you, JJ. Sam, with all your experience getting all these free houses, what would you say are the most profitable exit strategies for these properties you're accumulating, if you're going to keep them?
So that's a great question. So a couple of them. So this one, it was definitely a fix and flip situation because it was in an HOA. It really depends on the deal. Like this one was in a gated community. It was in an HOA. It was super like, you couldn't do a short-term rental. Now on the other side, I just bought a property in Largo that is not in an HOA that we bought without our own money. It's you. But we're going to turn it into a short-term rental because it doesn't have an HOA or those parameters, and the market score is really high for short-term rentals. So it's really deal dependent. If you like you really have to ask yourself, okay, is it an HOA? Is it in a place where people actually want to visit? Is it near a hospital, like where there's doctors who want to come and live or stay as a midterm rental? There's a lot of, it's really deal dependent on that. Everything is different, but I'm open to all those things, like all of them.
Sam, that's an insane story. That's awesome. I'm a gator. I'm not sub two. So just real briefly, I don't want to take the sub two course, but how do you do that? How do you pick up a house sub two, number one? And then number two is you're talking about getting like that $95,000 of good credit. That kind of sounds like what they teach us in Gator as far as like building like business credit on your LLC. How did you go about doing that?
See, that second part is what I love and what maybe you could teach me about, because I just kind of searched, we searched randomly for capital. Like we were like, hey, we're a business and we have the money and they just threw, it was like it was Seek Capital that we used, SEEK Capital. I'm not going to like promote it because I think that Fund and Grow ended up being a better deal that we didn't see, but they went out and gave us a bunch of capital on that. So that part. But as far as how do you get a sub two deal, you can go on PropStream or PropWire. You search parameters in the area that you want to be in. So say you want to be in, let's just say Miami. And then you say, okay, I want to look for Miami, but then I also want to look for 20% or less equity. And then furthermore, I want to look at something that has a 5% or less interest rate. As long as those all meet, then you have a list of houses and you can either reach out to the agent and make those relationships, which agents are hit or miss, or you find this and then you reach out. If you can't reach out to the agent, you go around and you go to the seller. So essentially you just want to find people that have higher mortgage balances that are looking to get out of their property. Expired listings, foreclosures are a good one too. Like we've closed. I have a guy on my acquisitions team. His name is Luke, and I can't even say he's on my acquisition. He's just another guy from sub two who kind of latched onto each other. Like he is an amazing he doesn't like to do contracts or dispo, and I'm like, okay, well, I'll help you with all that. He just passes me deals, and he gets like $2,300 or $3,000 entries. He's like, okay, Sam, the seller gets 1,000 and the agent gets 2,000. And I'm like, are you sure? So that's like all we walk into on these deals because they have higher mortgage balances and they just need to get out. So that's what you really want to look for, are those parameters. Like, is somebody asking their sales price for the same amount of what their mortgage balance is? And then once you see that, and when you recognize that, you contact them, you build rapport. You can't just call them as a salesperson and be an asshole. You have to be like, hey, I seen, you really have to make those friendships and make somebody like you, because being seen is better as being seen as different. And being different is somebody that comes at you caring. Sometimes you could even be like, hey, you know what, like for pre-foreclosures, hey, you know what, I could save your house, which you can totally do. You just have to call the bank and make like, hey, if I could push this to the back of the loan. Best case scenario, worst case scenario, you just get a good review. Best case scenario, they sell you their house and you get a huge fee. So there's a lot of good things in foreclosures. I'm not the foreclosure expert because it's a hard niche to get, because you either have to door knock or you have to be super persistent on the phone, because people in pre-foreclosure don't like to answer their phones or anything. But yeah, like that's been my strategy, is just basically finding and identifying those properties that are being sold on market that are at or really close to what they owe on their mortgage.
So then how do you go about assuming that mortgage, that debt?
You send them a contract on a sub-2 contract. It's a creative contract. And it's basically saying, I'm going to step in, I'm going to take over that mortgage. I'm going to put that property into a trust. That trust is going to be, the trustee is going to be whoever I pick. I'm going to be the beneficiary. There's a sub-2 contract. And if you ever want to do a deal that way, please let me know. Like I could show you, I'll walk you through it. We could JV on it. You can keep the contract at the end of it. Like it's a whole, but there's a contract for it. It's super simple. It is so simple. It's more simple than anything. I mean, it's simpler than, I don't want to say cash contract, but it's much easier than an assumable mortgage, because then you're sitting there for 2 months, like, yeah. So it's easy. It's an easy thing to do. It really is.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
Okay, good to see you, my friend. Calvin, you are on with Sam. What's your question?
Hey, Sam, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
All right. I noticed that you're from Atlanta as well, right?
I'm not from Atlanta. I'm from Chicago. I moved to Atlanta like 3 years ago.
Okay, yeah, I'm from Chicago too, and I also live in Atlanta as well.
Really?
Oh, yeah. So,
where'd you live in Chicago?
South Side, Hyde Park area.
Me too. Well, Pilsen.
Okay, not too far off. Okay,
Like
You guys should connect. You guys should
Oh,
connect.
yeah. That's awesome. I miss it. I miss it there. I miss everything about it except for the weather. I'm glad it ain't snowing here. That's one thing.
Yeah, man, the snow. I don't want to be bothered with the snow. Only during the summer.
Same. Exactly.
So I do have a question. So right now, my partner and I, we pull in like expired listings and pre-foreclosures. Now, as far as like properties that's been sitting on market for, say, 90 to 100 days or whatever, you try to reach out to the agent, but I'm not getting a response. So do you just go around the agent, just reach the seller instead?
Yep, that's exactly what I do. I had one, I just did it today, where I actually skipped an LLC because I wanted this property for myself in 3224 in Jacksonville. And it's been on market forever. And I looked it up. I finally looked up the seller, and it was an LLC. And I reached out to them on Facebook and said, listen, your agent is answering the phone. Yes. If you don't reach the agent, there's like a fine line. People are going to say, oh, you don't do that and whatever. No, if they're not representing their house and they're not trying to do anything about the sale, those people are on the other side probably thinking like, my house just isn't selling. It's like, no, because your fucking agent isn't answering the phone. It's like, if they aren't answering seriously, it's like, that is a problem. And it's like, I see it all the time. We see it. Nisha is with me too on my group. We see it all the time. And so we have to go around that. We have to skip trace the owner and then talk to the seller. And the only thing that really sucks about that is that they really love their agent. If they love their agent, and you just have to kind of be like, listen, like, I'm just letting you know, like, the agent really isn't answering my questions or my phone calls, but this is what I want to really present to you. Some people are like, screw my agent. Like, I'm really not happy with them. Like, I've heard a lot, 50-50. we deal with a lot of agent stuff. So yes, absolutely. If they are not answering you, then go around them and skip them. Absolutely.
Just give them
Absolutely.
a call.
Give them a
Yeah.
call. Give them a
Okay.
call. Yes. Be like, hey, I've tried to get out. I tried to reach out to your agent via text, via call. I see your property sitting there. I'd really like to make an offer. Can you just give me an email and we can kind of, or give me a call and we can start a conversation? That would be the best way to handle that.
Okay. And one more question. What systems are you using to I guess to pull your listings, to reach out to these sellers? What do you use?
So right now I'm using I do my own Facebook ads. I spend about $60 a day on Facebook ads, and that gives me my own leads. So like people do the pay per click and pay per lead. You can do that, but what I'm doing is my own stuff, because what they are doing, what the pay per click people are doing, is running their own Facebook ad campaign. So they're basically taking their ads and they're saying, hey, I'm going to give this to the highest bidder, or I'm not sure how exactly. I think you pay like $100, but there's probably like 12 or 15 people that are jumping on that lead and calling them. But in my case, I'm the only one calling them. I am the only one calling those people that reach out on my ads. So you could either do the pay per click, which I think is okay, but your best bet is to do your own ads, do your own I buy ugly houses, and then structure them in the area that you want to be in. But depending on where you want to be in, it's like a bid thing. So if somebody else is spending like a little bit more money in that area, they're going to get in front of that person before you do. So it really depends on what area you're in and whatever, or you just do the whole pay per click thing. But I think better than anything is to run your own ads. Second is to do the pay per click, pay per lead thing. If you don't want to run your own, you run your own stuff. And because they refund you if you don't get through to somebody, and all that. If you don't want to do the hard, like, cold call VA kind of deal, I think that would be your best bet. But for me, I run my own Facebook ads for like $60 a day.
Okay. That sounds good. I think I'm gonna try that method.
If you ever need anything, let me know. I have a Go High level attached to it that kind of it jumps my leads into my Go High level, and it has an automation that says, hey, thanks for filling out this form, yada, yada, yada. If you ever want to connect, please feel free to text me and we can walk through it together.
Cool. Okay. Appreciate you. Thanks.
No worries.
Mr. Rob Haddigy. Rob, how are you?
Hey, JJ, how's it going?
Good,
Sam,
brother.
how you doing? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
I got you drinking. You almost spilled it.
I so am drinking. You caught me.
Hey, I had a question. Right now I'm campaigning pretty aggressively direct to agent.
Okay.
So I know it's hit and miss. It all depends on when you get that conversation going, and I'm figuring that out, just being as transparent as I can to get their attention. But have you formalized a given time frame of the day that you find more effective?
He sends them out. Okay, so my acquisitions guy, he sends them out. Like, he told me this morning, he's like, I just woke up because I was up until 3 a.m. He sends them out like through the night. And then he gets an enormous response during the day. So I don't want to tell you to be up until 3 a.m, but that is kind of what he's been doing, like through the night. And then when they wake up, they see these emails and they reach out to him. That is my direct to agent guy. He's just phenomenal with the agent stuff. So I can't say like a real time, but I know he sends them through the night, and then he's like got a cluster of shit in the morning for him.
No, I totally understand that on the email aspect. If when I'm physically talking about getting on the phone and calling, are you finding the latter part of the afternoon more effective, being that maybe they're exhausted from their efforts?
I have seen when I've reached out, because I do a lot of I do phone, he does a lot of email, but in the phone, I think that early afternoon between 10 and 3 is the best time, because they're not with their families, they're out in the field, they're answering phone calls. I think that is the best time. Between 10 and 3 is been my best time for me to get a response.
Okay. And with that said, like I said, I'm just trying to figure it out. I'm going off various scripts and what have you. I don't use scripts,
Right.
but just trying to understand everything. What are you finding successful just to grab their attention right from the get-go? Because right now I'm finding the minute I say sub 2, they're like,
So you want to hit them with a lower, so great question. you want to hit them with a cash. You don't want to go in saying you're going to do sub to 100%. You want to go in and say, okay, you already know in your head because you probably search this property. It's probably got a lower, you know, it has a high mortgage. You want to go in saying, hey, you know what? I'm a cash buyer. I want to be your, I want to purchase this property for cash. Let me see where I would be at. So the mortgage rate say the mortgage is at 300 and they're priced at 350. You'd be like, I could come in right now for 290, no problem, cash price. You want to hit them with, you don't want to come in with a sub two at all. That you don't want to even have that in your first conversation to an agent because they've heard it and they are sick of it. You want to come in with a cash price that says it is below what you know the mortgage is. And they will, then you drag them along a little bit. And then you say, okay, well, this isn't going to work because I really like a lot of equity in my properties when I want to buy them. Let me see what I can do. And then you'd be like, hey, have you heard about this assumable sub two mortgage thing? And then kind of like guide them into it. Like I'm going to invite you to my Zoom because Luke, my agent guy, he's amazing with these kinds of conversations. It's ridiculous. Like he gets these agents into like the most biggest comfort zone that I've ever seen anybody in my entire life. He's the best at I've ever seen at what he does. If you're direct to agent and that is your thing, he is the one for you to like watch. And I'm going to send you, please send me your information so that I can send you to my Zoom.
Absolutely. I appreciate that.
We do it every day, every single day, Monday through Friday. We're kind of like just body doubling office hours, kind of like getting each other into the mood. Cause it's hard when you guys work from home. All of us are investors and we're all doing it on their own. And you all kind of get like, oh, I can't do this. Cause you got people around you, maybe your wives, your husbands, or you're sitting there because others they don't know what you're really doing. So they're not really involved. But when you have somebody on the other end of the computer who does know what you're doing and does understand what you're going through and all the things that you're trying to do, it's so much easier to be productive. So I want to send you that Zoom because that's what we do all day. We sit on the phone, we hang out, we take calls, we unmute, we let each other listen to each other. And it's the coolest shit ever. We've made so much, we've done a lot together and it would be amazing if you would join. Seriously.
Oh, that's awesome. No, I appreciate the introduction to Luke.
Absolutely.
Rob, thank you so much for your question, brother. Thank you for joining on. At the end of the call, you might see you might see Sam's number up there right now, and you can grab that. But we will go through Sam's contact info at the end of the call itself as well. Mr. Big Bad JJ Husky, you're back again with a question for Sam. What's up?
I'm back. You're inspiring me with more questions. So when you were talking about you're doing like all the Facebook ads to drum up this business, one of the rumors that I heard, because I don't do Facebook ads, but is like, they said that it was some sort of like a profiling or discrimination to use like zip codes to try to focus on specific areas. Is that true? How do you find the areas where you want to prospect and do that on?
Okay, so they're a little bit wrong. So you can reach out to certain zip codes and area codes, not a problem. What you can't do is ask them specifically what the property address is. So what you have to do, and what I did, is I snuck in location of property as an additional question. So when you do your ad, it'll say, like, you can ask an additional question and you have to put location of property. Now, sometimes you get an idiot who will be like, Florida. And that sucks because you still have to go in, you know what I mean? Like you don't have, but sometimes you do get an address. And honestly, I want to say it's 50-50. So 50% I get an address, 50% I get some dumb answer. But regardless, at least I know the area and the general, place I want to be. So you can target certain areas for sure, but there's some kind of like predatory. I don't know what Facebook sees it as, to be honest with you, just to ask for somebody's address that they're selling their house. But that's the only issue that I've had is that I can't get I can't say, what is your property address, plain and simple. It has to be like location of property. That's how I've been able to pass through the Facebook gods, if you will.
But I mean, so are you blasting it over like all of Florida and all of Georgia?
Yep, wherever I want. So I've got them in. So no, I don't have Georgia. I only have Miami, Tampa, Orlando, and Nevada at this moment.
So you do it by city instead.
I do it by city, market, honestly, market.
But you can actually put like a zip code, right, to really narrow it. So now you can just do city or town.
Yeah, that would probably be even better for your money because then you're putting your money into those specific zip codes and you're not combating with other people who are like me. Like if you did, because I'm in Tampa, if you actually had a zip code in St. Pete, I would think that your $30 a day thing would win over my $60 a day thing in all the areas that I'm trying to go in. You know what I mean? So if you narrowed into one zip code, you'd probably have a lot better luck with the Facebook ads.
You are still allowed to do that. You could punch in a zip code and your ad would just be in there.
Yes. Yes.
I heard a rumor that that wasn't allowed anymore. It was like,
nope, it is allowed. The only thing that's not allowed is to ask them for their specific address in your form. That's the only thing you can't do.
Good deal.
So this is kind of like your strategy, right? I mean, it's obviously this is working for you, and you've got a team built out. It seems to some extent now too, right?
Kind of, but guys, like I started with nothing. Like I had zero money when I'm not even kidding. Like I had not a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. So I'm telling you, like it is amazing what you can do with the right mindset and the people around it. Like I have like the guy that my team is, they work for free unless. I mean, they're my team and they bring me stuff. And I even told my acquisitions guy, I'm like, you could do this on your own. You could take your deals and do it on your own because he's seen me do it so many times. I've walked him through escrow. No, I just want to be with you. Like, I like where I'm at. I like what I'm doing. And he likes what he's getting. Like, so it's just being good to people. It's connecting with the right people. And that's really what it is. Like, just taking care of the people around you and knowing what they want and what you can provide. It's crazy. Like you don't need a ton of money or a big setup or any of this stuff. Just be on the phone. Pick up the phone. Like constantly be picking up.
Let me ask you, Sam, what if some people aren't comfortable on the phone? Is this something that everyone's like, not everyone's born being good on the phone. We can get better at that, right?
True.
Come to practice.
Exactly. Go on the daily dial, do practicing. And if you're an integrator and you're just really a recluse, then you can find a team like that. Find somebody like I could use an integrator at this point. Like I could use there are closers and people who are more comfortable on the phone that you use people that are a little bit more recluse, that are a little bit more like on the back end. They just want to be, coders or innovators. They want to build systems. That's super valuable in itself. Everybody has there's something in it for everybody. Everybody has a position. There's always something good for everybody.
This has been amazing. You're phenomenal. The questions we had.
I hope so.
No, you're awesome, girl. I have two questions for you. One, if the people on this call want to follow up with you in the near future, or people watching on YouTube weeks and months down the line want to connect with you, what's the best way to reach out to you? Would it be your MySpace page, your TikTok, your
MySpace.
Your MySpace. Yeah. That's what I thought.
Catalyst Invest is my Instagram, Catalyst Invest. That would be good for messaging. But honestly, like my phone number, which will never change. It's my old Chicago phone number, 312-206-0497. Or like my Facebook is never going to change. It's always going to be the same. So anyway, I love to help people that are motivated, that are taking action, and that don't feel sorry for themselves and don't have negative thoughts. There are so many things that are out there for you. You just need to have the right attitude and go take action because it is crazy what you can accomplish having nothing.
If you guys are watching, if you guys are on the call right now, I know we have a number of new investors on the call. We have people watching on YouTube. Guys, I will help you with your social media presence. I will blow your ass up, as I like to say. But part of this is teaching you some of the fundamental things to do. And a lot of you guys on the call, Paul, Peter, Josh, even Calvin, Jerome, you guys have done this yourselves and you guys have seen the benefit, and Big Mike bringing more people to the group. I really appreciate that. So yeah, if you guys want to get a hold of you, Sam, they can scan the little QR code behind you, right?
That's true. That's true too.
And then you got your phone number behind you on the screen, 312-206-0497. So if you guys want to get a hold of Sam, that's the way to reach out to her. If you wish, reach out to me and I'll put you in touch with Sam. My last question to you, and it kind of ties into what we were talking about beforehand about working with people and how you built your team and working with other people. But we're in Sub 2. And as we know, some of these education groups have many people coming every single day to the platform. Some of them are brand new investors like yourself, as I was one, at one point in time. I'm still new. Very experienced investors coming every single day to a wide variety of education groups, and each one has a Facebook page for their community, for their student body. Please join our Facebook page, network with other investors. And a lot of these investors are using Facebook, but not really. And they're really not scratching the surface of how to leverage social media, Facebook in particular, as a business tool to market themselves to grow their business. My question to you, and it kind of falls in line with what I do, but what is the importance, Sam, of for the new investor or the experienced investor who are new to social media to leverage social media for the growth of their business, to the growth of their network, to the growth of relationships, to build their legacy? How important is social media?
It's invaluable. It's so important because it gets you on the same page with other people who are like-minded and that want to do. But we had a call today on a deal that I put out in Cape Coral, and then my guy on the other line who was on my Zoom with me, he was like, "Where'd you get that guy from?" Well, I was just promoting it on Facebook, and it was like we find buyers, we find people who are like-minded, who are just like, "Hey, I want to do more deals with you. Hey, how can I help you? How can I provide value to you?" It is invaluable to get that kind of, to network and get those kind of connections together. Like I think it is the most important thing as an investor is to make friends and connections and get people to like you. Because when you get people to like you, they will do anything for you.
I love that.
Seriously, like they will.
Yeah.
And it's easy to do because you just need to be yourself, be real, say what you're going through, say what's going on, be honest, and the possibilities are endless, guys. Seriously.
Gold. That's gold. I talked to a guy a while ago about, joining my group in networking and, wanting to register, and because I can't get in touch with people if they don't register, which means scan this turquoise QR code, guys. But he says to me, "I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to make money." He says, "I don't care about making friends. I care about making money." And real estate's a people business. It's about relationships. If you're not here to make friends, guys, you're in the wrong business. Because real estate's about people help and work with those that they know and like down the line and trust. They can't trust you unless they like you. They can't like you if they don't know you. If you're not visible on social media, people will not know who you are. If you're not visible, opportunity walks right past you. And what opportunity is that? The opportunity to meet people like Sam, like JJ Husky, like Paul Hernandez, Jerome Johnson, Simon Salazar, Calvin Durham, Peter Yim. These are people that are active in my group. They're participating every single day, meeting people, learning how to leverage social media to build your visibility. So all I can say is, to agree with Sam, your network is your net worth, guys.
Yes.
You need to build relationships because the success of your business is predicated by the 5 or 6 people you engage with the most. And that means making friends with them, because the best business relationship is a personal friendship. And again, how do you do that? You do that by building.
You could be awkward and weird and kind of like, but that's okay because there's a place for you. Exactly. You can be awkward and kind of have that. Don't feel weird about it. Like we're all adults. Like I have my daughter. I keep telling her, like, no one's going to give a shit about what you're going. Like you're not going to give a shit about what you're going through in 5 or 6 years. You're not going to talk to any of these people ever again. But when you get older and you're just saying, like, I am me. This is how I am. We just need to kind of. There's a place for all people in this business. You just have to put yourself out there and say, this is who I am. This is what my strengths are. And you will automatically connect with somebody. I promise you.
Gold. Hey, if you guys are watching on YouTube right now, please like Sam's video. Please put in the comment sections what your takeaways were. If you're on the call right now, guys, do not go away. We're going to end the recording. We're going to jump in live with you guys again, do some more relationship building. Sam, I can't say enough how great your call was, how much I appreciate you coming on. And as I talk about all the time, guys, chase a relationship, don't chase the deal. And Sam, someone who I've not even met yet in person, and we're going to meet probably at Squad Up Summit next year. But it's about building relationships with phenomenal people and just being yourself and getting them to love you for the same reason your family and friends love you, to be real, to be genuine, and to be yourself, and you're going to win on this. Sam, we're going to join our live group right now in just a minute. For everybody else watching on YouTube, again, get hold of Sam, get under her QR code. You want to join my group, scan the turquoise QR code. You want to see what my YouTube channels, where all my 300 videos are, guest speaker interviews, scan the purple QR code. Look for more coming up with Flipside with JJ. Thank you guys. Please come back and bring your friends, guys. Bring your friends. See y'all soon. Thanks for joining
Bye.
us.